Hey folks, Nick here from Another BookTube channel, and today I'll be reviewing The Whispering Dead by Darcy Coates. If you follow my channel, you will know that her book, From Below, that I read last year, was one of my favorites of the year. It ended up in my top 5 of the books that I read. One of the scariest books I've ever read. So naturally, I want to read a lot more of her this year. I've already read one other book by her called House of Shadows, which I thought was pretty good. And now The Whispering Dead is the third one that I've read from her, and she's definitely proving to be a really fun, like light horror author, and one that I want to continue to read throughout the year. And I don't know if any of her books are going to reach the heights of From Below in terms of scaring me, but she is really, really good at crafting like a fun, thrilling mystery horror. So The Whispering Dead follows Kira, who opens the book not knowing anything about herself other than her name. She remembers like stuff in the world. She remembers how to do things. She remembers like movies and stuff like that, but she doesn't have any recollection of her own personal life. Um, and when the book starts, she is being pursued by an unknown person. They're chasing her through a cemetery with a gun. And she manages to find refuge with a pastor that lives on the grounds, who takes her in and offers her a place to stay because she doesn't know who she is or where she is or anything. A place to stay on the grounds in the old gravekeeper's like cottage that's been empty for a long time. And so while she's there, she starts to see ghosts in the graveyard. And the remainder of the book is not just her trying to get back her memories. The bulk of the moving action here is her trying to help one particular ghost. Like the ghosts don't really like speak to her, but she kind of gets this sense that they need something from her, that they're restless spirits. And so she's just like, oh, usually in these situations they need to like have some closure in the real world, and then they're able to move on. So that's probably it. Let me like try to do that. So the book is her trying to find closure for this ghost despite having like no clues to go on. So it's a fun mystery, a bit of a thriller, very, very light on horror. And being light on horror, like not too intense, I think makes this kind of like a perfect book for people who enjoy horror but don't like the really intense stuff. Like they don't like gore or I don't know, like people being tortured. Like that's not going to be what you see here. That's not what you get from a Darcy Coates experience. In the 3 books that I've read from her, I almost want to describe it as like cozy horror. Like it's not quite right, but and it's not really like low stakes either, because there are stakes. That there is real danger, but at no point are you really like overwhelmed or like feel like I gotta put the book down, or like, oh, this is gross. Like there's none of that stuff. It's very ingestible. It's very accessible type of horror, very accessible type of thriller. So I think this makes her in general kind of a really good author for newer readers as well, because it's so ingestible, because it is somewhat easygoing, because it has a little bit of a cozy vibe, in my opinion. I really think that this is a good book for those types of readers. But that being said, these books are not like without action. This book is not a slow book. And in fact, it's the opposite. I love that this book picks up immediately in the action. Like page 1, Kira is being pursued. Like she is on the run. Her memory is gone. There's a gunman chasing her. Like we are right in it. And then by page 20, we have our first ghost. So like there's no waiting around. It's just, this is what the book is. We got ghosts, we got mystery, we got amnesia, we got a gunman, we got go. And that's fantastic. That's wonderful. And then the mysteries unfold over the course of the book, obviously, and they are interesting. Like the plot surrounding the ghost and the mystery of the ghost is simple seeming. Like while you're reading it, it's like, oh, this kind of feels like a little bit obvious. But as it goes on, the way that it ends is something that really I was not expecting. I was very surprised by it, which was a very pleasant surprise because I was afraid it was going to be way too simple. But Coates really comes through in the end. And I really enjoyed Kira, who again has no memory, kind of starting a new life in this little town. That's not. It's very one of those places where everybody kind of knows each other, and there's like the local legends, like that house, like don't go near that house, like that guy that lives there, he's a crazy one. That's that guy, he's an asshole. Nobody likes him. Oh, she's a conspiracy theorist, but she's harmless. This guy's a doctor, but there's something kind of suspicious about him. So I love the scenes of Kira getting to know the townspeople and like learning who to trust and forming connections, and her having this fear of like, I don't know who I was before this. What if I wasn't a good person? What if I'm putting people in danger by being here? Like that push and pull of like wanting to be closer to them, but also not wanting to get too close just in case. That was really nice. I think that was really well done. And I'll tell you, this is part one of a series, the Gravekeeper series. And I'll tell you, by the end of it, we don't have all of the answers. Like the ghost plot is wrapped up, but the plot about Kira and who she is and where she comes from, that is not completely wrapped up here. We still have a way to go, and that makes me want to read the next book. Like I didn't feel cheated at the end, like we don't get to learn this or this. I was like, ooh, there's more to learn. I'm excited to pick up the next one. So I think whenever a book can accomplish that, like not give you all the answers, but still make you feel satisfied, then that's a pretty good book. So yeah, that's The Whispering Dead. I think if you're a fan of lighter horror, lighter thrillers, this is a really fun one. I really love this book cover. I think the design on this is terrific. I also love that in the beginning of the chapters, there's a little cat. There's a little cat that walks on a little chapter bar. I like that. But yeah, my arbitrary and subjective grade for The Whispering Dead, I'm going to say 7.5 out of 10. Really fun book. I read it in like 2 days. It's super easy read. I recommend it to you, to new readers, to anybody. It's just a really nice time. Thank you very much for spending some time with me today. But now it's time to get back to reading.